Do you guys see that? We now have Ray Reconstruction available when we are not in the full-on path tracing mode, but also the path tracing mode is no longer labeled as a tech preview. What is going on here? Let's talk about it. We just got a massive patch for Cyberpunk, and in this video, we're gonna be looking at its impacts on the performance and image quality of the ray tracing and DLSS modes on NVIDIA GPUs. Now, there's a lot of other stuff going on in this patch, and that is awesome. So I'm kind of scrolling through you here. You can see that there's a ton of gameplay balance changes. There are updates to boss fights, Phantom Liberty specific stuff as well, accessibility updates, and massive new features, including an entire metro system with 19 stations located throughout the city. So this is a very major update, and while I'm interested in this game and I'd love talking to you guys about the game changes, my channel is focused on PC hardware performance, so we're scrolling back to that. So we're about to test some of this stuff out, but let's get some idea of what it is we are looking for. What are the changes? So the ray tracing overdrive mode has exited preview status. It has been listed as a tech preview in the game's graphics menus until now. This also includes some image quality improvements. That includes our introduction of Restar GI, which further improves path traced lighting quality in RT overdrive mode, especially in darker areas with no impact on performance, at least according to the patch notes, and minimizing ghosting. Now this is huge if that's true, because the path tracing mode, I played a bit of the what was Phantom Liberty update, there slipped my mind, Phantom Liberty update, but I've actually been playing some other games and waiting for some updates. There was a lot of ghosting in the RT overdrive mode, and I was expecting that to maybe get patched a bit and fixed, which looks like that is happening now. And some areas of the game were clearly not designed with the path trace lighting in mind. So maybe there, the artists in the non-path tracing mode had placed enough light there, but other areas were clearly maybe not the artist's intention. It looks like there's some improvements to that, which is great. Now, what we're mostly gonna focus on in this video in my actual testing is the introduction of Ray Reconstruction. And you might be like, wait a second, Ray Reconstruction was already in the game. You already did a video right here about that when the 2.0 update happened. Yes, but previously Ray Reconstruction was limited to the path tracing mode and the path tracing mode only. It was not available in any of the other RT modes. That has now changed. So what's going on here? It now says it's available in RT Ultra and other RT modes with RT reflections enabled. So it looks like as long as you're using RT reflections, Ray Reconstruction will now be available. Looks like there's some other updates to fixing some occasional issues with V and other NPCs' skin having a metallic-like effect with RT enabled, as well as an issue where some characters' hair did not cast shadows with ray tracing enabled. We also get DualSense controller support and Samsung HDR10 Plus mode for NVIDIA GPUs. Now, like I said, I'm gonna focus mostly on Ray Reconstruction. So what are we looking for here? When this was introduced, it had some major image quality benefits, and it also had a small performance improvement. However, that performance improvement is not a guarantee in other modes. So one thing I wanna look for is, does performance actually get worse with Ray Reconstruction enabled when you're not in the RT overdrive mode? Reminding you, in my testing of performance of Ray Reconstruction in the 2.0 update, which again was only in RT overdrive mode, I was actually seeing a small single-digit performance benefit to having Ray Reconstruction turned on, in addition to the image quality benefit, which was its primary purpose. And I didn't only test one GPU, that was on the 4060. On the 3080, I saw a 7% performance improvement. On the, let's see, I had other GPUs here. The 4070, I saw an 8% performance improvement. On the 4090, I saw a 9% performance improvement. So there were definitely some performance improvements, again, in addition to the image quality improvements. So I want to be looking at both of those things. Now, why would Ray Reconstruction possibly have a negative impact on performance? At least we'll measure it and see what happens. So Ray Reconstruction replaces the they replace the normal denoisers for the ray tracing, and the denoisers have a performance impact. Ray Reconstruction also has a performance cost. If the performance cost of Ray Reconstruction is less than the performance cost of the normal denoisers that it's replacing, then it has a net benefit to performance. But if Ray Reconstruction has more performance impact, negative performance impact, more frame time cost, then the denoisers that it's replacing, it could actually slightly lower performance. So in RT overdrive mode, where there's a ton of denoising happening, we saw a net benefit. I'm curious if that is still the case in other RT modes, but then also again, just the image quality benefits, are they still there when we're not in the RT overdrive mode? So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna switch over my PC I have next to me. I'm actually gonna spin my microphone over. Hopefully you can still hear me, because I am moving to the chair next to the one I was just in, and I am now in control of this game. We're on an RTX 4070. We're currently at 1080p resolution and DLSS quality with Ray Reconstruction off. I'm currently in RT Ultra, not RT Overdrive, no path tracing, and notice I can turn on Ray Reconstruction, although so far I have not. We're gonna look at a couple of things. First of all, we're gonna ignore the conversation I'm in because I just loaded this save to get to this scene. This scene shows a lot of the things I don't like about DLSS in this game. Do you notice how unstable the image is right now? And in motion, we also get some moire patterns on this flooring. Those kind of weird patterns kind of makes it look like there's these weird little curves going on, as well as the temporal instability. So what I want to do next is turn on Ray Reconstruction and check if that improves, because in the overdrive mode, I noticed improvements to the image quality when doing this, not just better looking puddles. So let's go ahead and turn Ray Reconstruction on. And now, in motion, as well as standing still, do you guys see how much more temporally stable this is? The lines look much more clean. When I'm standing still here, the lines aren't shaking and unstable. Again, Ray Reconstruction off, even standing still, which is the easiest job, do you guys see how unstable those lines look? I'm curious if the rain is going to get removed by Ray Reconstruction though. Let's go ahead and see if it can handle the rain, and we still see rain. I still see raindrops, but it does seem to be having a big image quality benefit to the stability of this. Now let's also look at performance. I have 102 frames per second, bouncing 101, 102, 101, 102. That's Ray Reconstruction on. Ray Reconstruction off. Let's give it a chance to settle, 104 frames per second. Okay, that's a 2% performance loss, roughly. So it's basically costing us 2% performance, which again, that's a loss to performance instead of a gain like we saw with RT Overdrive, but 2 or 3%, not a whole lot there. And look how unstable that image is, and look how much the stability improves with that Ray Reconstruction turned on. I'm actually curious if we can now push DLSS even more, but also let's compare it to native. So let's go native, no resolution scaling. And you can see that the image looks pretty stable. This looks a lot more like the Ray Reconstruction version of the image. And Ray Reconstruction, I'm actually curious if how does it compare? I also want to look at more aggressive settings. So let's actually go to DLSS performance mode with no Ray Reconstruction and no frame generation here. So we're just gonna focus on DLSS performance. And wow, it's even more unstable than we saw in quality mode. Again, this is DLSS performance at 1080p. This is not something I would usually wanna use. I'm curious how much Ray Reconstruction cleans that up. It actually seems to clean it up considerably. Let's see if it can hold up in motion. It's not perfect. There seems to be a little bit of weirdness and wobbliness. Like if I just stare at this, that does look a little bit weirdly kind of shimmery and unstable. Let's try Ray Reconstruction off though. Okay, different sort of issues. I see more moire, but less creeping and crawling. And then the upscaling off does look better than both of those other options. But again, that was making performance mode upscaling actually look somewhat reasonable, which is very interesting. Look out there at that sign. Do you see how shimmery that is on those behind those palm trees? This is at native resolution. I'm curious if, so first of all, now let's kick on DLSS quality at 1080p. I don't really want to go much below that. Actually, DLSS seems to make that more stable than native did, and Ray Reconstruction on, I think actually makes that whole scene back there look the most stable. So I think there's actually some improvements even better than native on some of the stability going on back there, which is very interesting. Again, this is the native image. So cool stuff. Can we enable it in DLAA mode? I'm curious. If we go to DLAA mode, no. So it looks like still no Ray Reconstruction in native resolution DLAA mode. So not perfect. I mean, that would be cool, but let's go ahead and look at some other stuff. So the other thing that this should help out with is nice mirrored reflections. So let's look at the reflections in this mirror and how stable or unstable, how much detail we can see, things like that. And now let's go ahead and kick Ray Reconstruction on. And I do think that that is reconstructing more than what we saw previously. Now I'm also interested, this was RT Ultra mode. They said that we should be able to use Ray Reconstruction as long as we have any sort of ray tracing enabled. So let's go ahead and turn on less ray tracing. So we're gonna go down to, yeah, you can see RT low, which is just shadows. Ray Reconstruction's disabled. RT medium, which again has some of the lighting and shadows, but none of the reflections. Again, Ray Reconstruction is disabled. Sorry, wrong button there. So I'm actually gonna go into a manual mode here. We're just gonna start at the Ultra no ray tracing preset. We're gonna turn ray tracing on, and we're only going to turn on ray traced reflections. So only ray traced reflections. Let's go ahead and play around. Let's make sure we're on DLSS mode here. Start at DLSS quality. It looks like we can turn on Ray Reconstruction, but first I'm gonna have it off. So Ray Reconstruction off, 1080p DLSS quality. It looks extremely unstable. I hate it. Let's go ahead and turn on Ray Reconstruction. And it's, yeah, it really does clean up all those stability issues that I have with normal DLSS quality. I'm still getting some moire. Do you see in the, like, kind of the tan tiles in front of me? There's definitely some moire happening there. And some loss of stability, so it's not perfect, but with Ray Reconstruction off, I do think it's still there, and some of the other image is less stable. And, oh yeah, let's also take a look at performance. So here we are at 125, 126 frames per second, and Ray Reconstruction on. We are now down to 110 frames per second. So that's a bigger difference. So I think the less ray tracing you have enabled, the less normal denoisers would be required, which then means Ray Reconstruction, you know, is gonna have a bigger performance hit. So the more ray tracing effects you have enabled, the less of a performance hit and possible performance benefit that you get. I keep hitting resolution scaling instead of ray tracing. So let's go all the way up to the RT overdrive mode, and we'll go to DLSS quality, Ray Reconstruction off. Because again, I want to show you that with tons of ray tracing enabled, here we're at 58 frames per second. Here, if I turn Ray Reconstruction on, our performance probably goes up. Yeah, we're at about 61 frames per second. So this seems to confirm the more ray tracing effects you have, the more denoisers you have. And so the more denoisers Ray Reconstruction is replacing, and again, the bigger benefit we have to our overall image quality. Now, I would love to talk more about the RT overdrive mode and the changes that they've made to it. However, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of before this update images to compare with. So let me actually hop back over to our other PC again. I think that's the testing that we're gonna do. Excuse my camera noise while I swap over here. Okay, we're back. So overall, what do I think about the changes here? RT overdrive mode, those changes and this restir, the improvement to dark areas and things like that, I would need footage of those specific issues prior to this patch, and I don't have a lot of that. Hopefully a channel like maybe Digital Foundry, which has a lot of prior footage testing the RT overdrive mode, hopefully they'll eventually have time to do a video and look into those details. DLSS Ray Reconstruction, overall, what do I think? Definite image quality improvements to a lot of the issues that I had previously with DLSS, especially at the lower resolutions like 1080p, to where now it holds up much closer to the native image in stability, which is great. Performance looks like when you just have RT reflections enabled, Ray Reconstruction took a fairly noticeable hit to our performance. However, when we were in RT Ultra mode, it was a very minor hit to performance. So again, it seems, and then again in RT Overdrive mode, it's a net benefit to performance. So basically, the more ray tracing effects you have enabled, the more denoising would be required, and Ray Reconstruction has a fixed cost, whereas those denoisers, I think, have a larger cost the more RT effects are enabled. So the basically, you know, the Ray Reconstruction performance versus all those denoisers it's replacing, you know, so the performance impact will depend on the amount of RT effects enabled. And again, we can only enable it when reflections are one of the options we have available to us. So cool stuff. Again, this other stuff, not something I'm testing right now. I'm excited about DualSense controller support because sometimes I do like to play on my couch, on my TV with my surround sound, and I love the DualSense controllers, so I'm excited to see what that's all about, but not something we're doing in this video. Hopefully you guys found this interesting and useful. Sorry I didn't have time to edit side-by-sides and all of that. I can hear footsteps upstairs, so I think my kids are home, so I'm gonna have to let you guys go, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to subscribers and especially channel members who hit the join button to support the channel directly financially. Huge thank you, can't thank you enough, and I hope all of you have an excellent day.